Three friends who met on a high school debate team are now reportedly among the youngest self-made billionaires alive. They didn't build a chatbot. They didn't train a model. They didn't write a single line of the AI that everyone's obsessed with. Instead, they figured out something almost nobody was paying attention to: the smartest AI labs on Earth, the ones worth tens of billions, have a problem they can't solve with code. And these three dropped out of college to solve it for them. Their company is called Mercor, and in under 2 years it went from a few $1 million in revenue to a reported $1 billion annualized run rate. Here's the strange part. The thing they sell isn't software. It's people. And once you understand why that's worth so much, you'll see the entire AI gold rush completely differently. Because the people getting truly, generationally rich off artificial intelligence right now often aren't the ones you've heard of. Stay with me, because the business they stumbled into reveals exactly where the real leverage in this whole boom is hiding, and it's not where you think. Mercor was founded in 2023 by Brendan Footy, Adarsh Hiremath, and Surya Mehta, three Bay Area friends who'd competed together on their high school speech and debate team. They later became Teal Fellows, the program that pays young founders to skip or drop out of college and build instead. But here's what most people miss: their first idea wasn't the billion-dollar one. The original Mercor was a recruiting platform connecting freelance programmers in India with companies in the United States. They built an AI tool to interview developers and match them to jobs. Decent business. Not a world changer. Then they noticed something happening around them. The AI labs they kept bumping into didn't just need engineers. They needed something far weirder and far more valuable. They needed humans to teach their models how to actually think. And the founders realized the recruiting machine they'd already built could be pointed at that exact problem. So they pivoted. Hard. That decision is the whole story, and it's a reminder that the winning idea is often the second one, hiding right next to the first. Here's the part nobody tells you about modern AI. A model like the ones from OpenAI or Anthropic doesn't get smart purely by reading the internet. To make it reason at a professional level, to answer like a real lawyer, doctor, banker, or engineer, you need actual lawyers, doctors, bankers and engineers grading its answers, writing examples, and catching where it's confidently wrong. That work has a name now: it's the human layer of AI training. And it's brutally hard to scale, because you can't just hire random people off the street. You need verified domain experts, vetted fast, matched to the right project, paid, and managed, at enormous volume. That is exactly what Mercor does. It recruits and vets that expert workforce, then rents their brainpower to the AI labs. Its reported customers include OpenAI and Anthropic, the biggest names in the industry. Think about how strange that is for a second. The companies building the technology that's supposed to replace knowledge workers are paying a startup to find them more knowledge workers. The smarter they want their model to get, the more human experts they have to hire to teach it. So while everyone was watching the AI companies, Mercor quietly became the company that staffs the AI companies. In a gold rush, they sold the picks and shovels. Except the shovels are people, and the mine is the mind itself. Now let's talk about how fast this actually moved, because the speed is hard to believe. By reporting around early 2026, Mercor had crossed roughly $1 billion in annualized revenue. It reportedly hit $500 million in annualized revenue in under 3 years, then doubled from there shortly after. The growth from a few million to that scale happened in something like 20 months. To make money, the model is elegantly simple. Mercor reportedly takes a recruiting fee, said to be around 30%, applied across a global pool of hundreds of thousands of professionals. Every successful expert placed on a project generates revenue. Then the valuation followed. In October 2025, the company raised a $350 million round led by Felicis, reportedly at a $10 billion valuation. That was roughly 5 times its valuation from just 8 months earlier. And the result of that round is what made headlines. Its founders, around 22 years old, reportedly became some of the youngest self-made billionaires ever. Keep those figures in mind, because the next question is the one that actually matters. Why is teaching a machine worth this much? Because the AI industry hit a wall most outsiders never heard about. The early gains came from feeding models the public internet. But there's only one internet, and the labs have basically used it. The next leap, the thing they're all racing toward, is AI that can reliably do real professional work, not just chat. And to train for that, you need fresh, high-quality, expert-generated data that simply doesn't exist online, because it lives inside the heads of skilled people. The CEO has talked about this as the shift toward what he calls agentic data, the kind of detailed human judgment that teaches a model how an expert actually makes decisions step by step. That data is now arguably the scarcest, most fought-over resource in tech. The companies with the most money on earth are bidding against each other for it. And Mercer positioned itself as the marketplace standing in the middle of that war, taking a cut of every transaction. When the rarest input in your industry flows through your platform, you get to set the toll. And remember the open question from earlier, why these three founders specifically? It's because their old recruiting startup had accidentally built the exact engine this moment required, a fast way to find, test, and verify skilled people at scale. They weren't smarter than everyone else about AI. They were simply standing in the right doorway when the gold rush walked through it, holding the one tool it needed. But before you assume this is unstoppable, look at the fragility underneath. Mercer's revenue is heavily concentrated among a small number of giant AI labs. When a huge share of your money comes from a handful of customers, you're exposed. If one of them builds its own in-house data operation, or simply decides to bring the work internal, a big chunk of revenue can vanish fast. There's a second risk that's almost poetic. Mercer's entire business assumes AI still needs lots of humans in the loop to get smarter. But what happens as models get good enough to generate and grade their own training data? The very technology Mercer feeds could, in theory, reduce the need for what Mercer sells. The founders are betting that human expertise stays essential, that the frontier keeps moving faster than automation can close the gap. Maybe they're right. They've been right so far. But at $10 billion valuation prices in years of continued dominance in a market that, by its own logic, is trying to automate itself out of existence. That tension is the real story. So what do you actually take from this? The lesson isn't go start an AI data company, that ship has largely sailed. It's the pattern underneath. The biggest fortunes in a gold rush rarely go to the people digging. They go to the people who spot the bottleneck everyone else is ignoring and stand directly in front of it. Mercer's founders didn't win by building a better model. They won by asking a different question, not what can AI do, but what does AI still need that only humans can provide? In every hype cycle there's a layer of boring, unglamorous, absolutely essential work that the spotlight skips right over. Right now, the AI boom is generating dozens of those gaps, the picks and shovels opportunities hiding behind the headlines, and most of them aren't billion-dollar plays, they're the kind a small team or even one sharp person can build. That's exactly the kind of overlooked, money where it actually is breakdown we do on this channel, so if you want to see where the next bottleneck is forming before everyone else piles in, subscribe. Because the next strange fortune is already being built in a corner nobody's watching.